Welcome, welcome, welcome to another exciting episode of Wind Down with Kev. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to watch us on live stream on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or if you're listening to this at a later date on your favorite podcasting platform. Thank you. Also, big thanks to all of you that have already subscribed and hit the notification button. Thank you. And if you haven't done it already, if you love the content we create today, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you can be informed as soon as content like this comes out. Also, big thank you to my sponsors, which you'll see flashing on the screen behind me. Canopy Connect. If you operate an agency, you're looking to be digital, you're looking to gain more information easier and simply from your prospects, go with Canopy Connect. And if you're looking to up your social media and digital game all around, please reach out to Carol Media. Lastly, I have to acknowledge my banking partner, Wintrust. All of that being said, I am super excited today for today's episode of 50 Podcasts with 50 agents from 50 different states. We get to go to the great state of Montana today. Yes, it has been described as the most beautiful state. All of you, I know what you're thinking already because it's what I'm thinking. Yellowstone, Yellowstone, Yellowstone. Yes, indeed, Yellowstone. So who are we talking to in Montana today? We are talking to a award-winning agent, All-State Leaders Forum, Circle of Champions, honoring multiple times, National Conference, multiple times, more than all of those awards. She's got the biggest heart in the world, and she proves it by giving back to the community where she works and she lives. Ladies and gentlemen, put your warm Wind Down with Kev hands together and welcome Tammy Quintrell Stubbs.
Thank you.
Hey, Tammy, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Outstanding, outstanding. So, Tammy, before we went live, we had a great sidebar conversation about beautiful Montana. Do me a favor, invite our listening and our viewing audience to Montana. Tell me what it's like outside today. And if I were in Montana, which I've never been, where would we have lunch at today to be doing this podcast in person?
Oh goodness, I think everyone in once in their life needs to come and experience Montana. It is the most beautiful place. The weather on any given day can change. We can experience probably all four seasons in any given day or week. For example, yesterday I was driving home. Half of the sky was clear blue. It was gorgeous. On the other half was kind of dark. The gray was coming in, and there was snow flakes coming down. And today it's beautiful again. So on any given day, it could be 40, 50 degrees and then start snowing. It's very wild. You never quite know what you're going to get. It could be 40 below or it could be 102. So we have the
Wow.
full range of temperatures here, but it is quite beautiful. Yes.
From 40 below to 102. Tammy, the insurance implications of such wild weather swings. I don't want to go into insurance yet, so I'm going to hold that
Yeah.
thought. I always like to start with fun stuff.
Yeah.
Your bio on your website, you talk a lot about the fun outdoor life in Montana. So we're filming this on a Thursday. What's going on outdoors in Great Falls, Montana this weekend?
We are kind of in between, I think, our sports seasons. My son is a hockey player, and so
Nice.
our hockey season just winded down. So we ended with hockey. Football will start up here slowly. I know that baseball is starting up. But in my community in Great Falls, it's really rich with like a lot of downtown uh, cafes, boutiques. It's a really gorgeous small town. So yeah, there's I would say this weekend people are going to start doing some yard work, getting stuff ready for summertime. They're getting their boats and their toys kind of making sure everything's fired up and ready for coming into summer.
All right. So, Tammy, I can go inside a cafe and a boutique in New York City. Take me outdoors in Montana. Take me to the wide open space. And where's the place where we might go hiking or do something on the mountains outside?
So, Glacier National Park is
Oh,
phenomenal. It's the most beautiful drive. And you have to make reservations. It's not just a casual day trip up, but you drive slowly and you kind of wind up and go around the mountain, and you'll see the elk, antelope, deer, bighorn sheep. Going into the Yellowstone area, there's moose, there's um, hopefully you don't come face to face with a grizzly bear, but there are a lot of bears. You never quite know what to expect when you're in the outdoors. A lot of people mistake our friendly outdoor animals as friendly, and they're not friendly, as approachable. They are not. Don't do that. Um, but there's fishing, hiking, camping. We're big campers, my family, so we look forward to getting all geared up and going out, and just the fresh air is undescribable. When you breathe in that fresh mountain air, it's crisp, it's cool. There's no place like it. It's amazing.
oh my God. Tammy, you've given me so much in that answer. I'm going to try to break it down. Glacier National Park. I'm not the brightest bulb in the room, but is it fair to assume that the national park is named because once there was a glacier there?
Um, you would know more than I would on that. Born and raised in Montana my whole life, I'm not a history buff, but what I'll tell you is that throughout the mountain, there's just cascades of waterfalls and the ice that pours down. It's breathtaking. It really is.
Oh my God. Well, that kind of beauty I can't see in New York City at all.
No.
Now, here are some wild elements that you introduced in the conversation. The winding trip up the mountain. I have zero mental toughness or capacity to drive on winding roads, excuse me, without a rail. How many feet are we talking about? And if I had the heart or the guts to drive up that mountain, if I were to dare to look down from the car, what would I see on my side outside the driving window?
You get some butterflies for sure. I am terrified of heights. It's a slow drive though. That's the thing, is it's a slow kind of climb up the hill because there's a lot of cars lined up in front of you and everyone wants to take pictures, and there's some pull-out spots where you can relax or have a picnic, but it's slow, so it's not scary. But if you go up to the edge and you look down, you're just going to see a cascade of rocks, water below. It'll give you the tickles in your stomach for sure. At least it does for
So,
me. I'm not a fan, but it does for me.
so Tammy, I got all sort of conflict going on inside of me right now. The idea of those social media pictures, the selfies, the videos I could film, that does my heart good. But here's where you lost me. Cars are stopped for these photo ops, for these social media moments that we all want. How do you take your car out of park and go again without going backwards 10 or 15 feet?
So that doesn't happen. They close down those roads when it's icy out. So I mean, your car's not gonna. Well, I guess if it's a manual and you're not doing the good clutch gas ratio, that could be an issue. But no, your car won't go backwards.
Oh my
It'll be
God.
okay. Yeah, it'll be okay.
Tammy, the camera is not picking this up, but literally the thought of this, I'm sweating bullets right now.
I'll give you a tour. Come to Montana. We can hop in my Yukon and I'll give you the tour.
Oh my God. Then you'd have to tell the people the truth about what a wimp Kevin is.
I'll
Okay.
get you a T-shirt. I survived the glacier drive. We'll make a big deal out of it.
Can you send the t-shirt without me doing it? Can I
I'll do a
front on the
photo.
gram? That's
I'll
what
do
I'm
a
asking you. Can
Photoshop
I
with
lie
you
to the
next to a
people?
mountain. Yeah, I'll do a Photoshop with you next to the mountain holding a T-shirt. It'll be good. No, everyone will buy it. They'll
I
believe it.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, a couple of wild things that bridge us right into the insurance conversation. There's the one element impactful of insurance because the winding road. That's wild. But then there's the beautiful wildlife that you talked about. I mean, the elk, the antler, the big sheep, the bears, and probably a few things that I didn't write down.
Mhm.
How important is it for you to prepare your clients in the area with your local expertise to have the right coverage? God forbid if they do the wrong thing with the wildlife.
So a big thing that happens in Montana very frequently is people hit deer. They jump across the highways constantly, deer, antelope, elk. It's just the nature of the beast, and so that's a big thing we have conversations with quite a bit is hitting an animal. And I just always remind people we don't veer away, we don't try to avoid it. You just apply your brakes appropriately. And if you have to hit it straight on, you hit it straight on to avoid other collisions or injuring, other people or running into other objects. So that's kind of a common conversation that we have is hitting animals. Other than that, it's just common sense. Uh, It, I say common sense, but maybe common sense for Montanans. Um, you if you have and if you're a tourist and you're traveling in some of those areas and a moose starts charging at you or a bear, which happens, grizzly bears will get into your vehicle if there's food in there, especially if you're camping. um, that you don't approach the situation, and what's done is done at that point, but a lot of it is hitting animals while driving, and so we talk a lot about that.
Oh gosh, this is the value of a local agent because you're a native of Montana, but you have a lot of new people moving to Montana. I would imagine in the past 5 years, post pandemic, a lot of Californians looking for space. They want to
Mhm.
stretch out a little bit. They're coming to Montana. You have a big job to educate people on these new risks that they face in this new beautiful state.
Absolutely. And people that are coming from Florida or California that have dealt with and are well versed with hurricanes or earthquakes, that's just not something we deal with in Montana. One thing that we deal with quite consistently would be animals, hail, and then wind. And we have wildfire concerns. Most of that is land up in the mountains. We don't have a lot of like homes that are just burning up from wildfires, but the wind and hail is a huge factor in Montana. And so having to just shift their focus and kind of take the fear out of what they have been used to or have experienced, and now this is what we deal with in Montana. So that's really important with the people moving in out of state that they know what they really need to be prepared for. Um, and how their coverage works to protect them from those elements. So for sure.
I love it. So any Californians escaping those wildfires, moving up to Montana for more space. Um, have you had an experience where they made the mistake of holding on to an old relationship with an 800 company or a .com company? They didn't switch over to a local agent, area expert like you. If you have one of those stories, I think it's valuable to share to educate any Montanans that are listening.
We do. I mean, I feel like we have that conversation weekly. And it's not even out of state people, it's anyone that has felt empowered to go online or call an 800 number because that feeling of I'm going to save all this money, and they don't realize that they're not dealing with anyone that is familiar with Montana. They're dealing with a representative that could be anywhere in the world, and so they really have no connection to what we deal with here. And we find out about that, of course, after a claim has happened, and
Yes.
that's the really really unfortunate hard part that we deal with is then we feel very bad, and we take that as an education opportunity. We take that as a learning moment, and more times than not, those those people become our customers. We move them in, and they're willing to pay more, and it's not always more, but they're willing to pay that premium because they know that they're going to hear my voice. They're going to deal with very highly educated people in my office that are going to take good care of them. So we deal with that quite a bit.
I love it. I love it. And more than insurance, I'm sure you're giving them peace of mind. So, Tammy, you are a legacy agent. I believe
Yeah.
your dad was an agent. You worked alongside your dad for many years before opening and starting your own agency. Talk about your journey.
So it's a little bit different than that. And I have a very, I think, unique story that shocks a lot of people because it's not typical. I was a single mom at 21 years old, and really, I did not I have no formal education. I did not go to college. I moved to Montana to raise my daughter, and I asked my dad if he needed a secretary or if he needed somebody in the office to clean or do any odd jobs, and he said, "Well, you have to get your insurance license if you're going to be in the office." And so I got the books and I did it the old school way. I studied, got my property and casualty license, and became a producer in his office. And I knew nothing about insurance. All I knew was that I would just listen to the conversations that my dad would have with people, and I began to emulate the things that he would say and write notes and cards and have conversations the way that he would, because he was a very, very successful agent. 6 months into my journey as what people would call an LSP these days, he was offered a position into the management team within Allstate, which meant that he could no longer be an agency owner. Um,
Wow.
so within a probably a 2-week period of time, I was presented with this offer to purchase the agency, which meant that I also had to get my life and health license, which I didn't have at the time. So within 2 weeks, I had an overflowing amount of really complicated decisions and changes that had to be made. But I ended up purchasing the agency in 2000, and again, really knew nothing about what I was doing. I certainly didn't know how to manage employees. I didn't know how to hire or fire. I barely knew the insurance world myself, and I just went in head first. And uh, yeah, the rest is history. I celebrated my 25th year as an agent February 1st. So I've learned a few things along the way, have a couple locations. So
Congratulations.
yeah,
Let's celebrate that moment first. Congratulations on
thank you.
25 years. That's phenomenal, especially with your start. But continue. I couldn't let you go without celebrating that moment.
No, thank you. Um, it's been a I feel like the success that I've had, I've told new agents this. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I'm not a numbers nerd. I don't crunch reports like everyone. But the one thing I learned from my father and that I've stuck to from day one is I treat every customer like I would want people to treat my own family, and they are family to us. And I made the choice many, many, many years ago to get heavily involved in my community, whether it was with Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Special Olympics. I serve on a couple of different boards now, but giving back into my local community, which is small. I think Great Falls has maybe 60,000 people.
Okay.
And it's been the same 60,000 people since I moved here 20 years ago. So it's not a growing community like other cities in Montana, but um, just treating people the way that we want to be treated, and never losing sight of that has I think been a really huge key to my success in being a business owner and a representative of all states. So yeah, it's been fun.
I, I love it. I love it. I love it. I have to ask a question. Knowing your journey, the highly intense 6 month training and development program you had to prepare you for this amazing opportunity, uh, what would the 25-year vet that you are today, what's one lesson that you would tell your 21-year-old self?
Oh goodness, that's a tough one. um you know I if I could go back and have a magical repeat of things, I wish that I would have um, had maybe gone to college before entering that opportunity, just to have some more business savvy, some more management savvy. But at the end of the day, I feel like I've gotten about 300 degrees from the School of
Yes.
Hard Knocks.
Yes.
I am a professional student at the School of Hard Knocks, so
Yes.
I have grown and ended up where I am today because I had to figure everything out and I had to do it by myself. And Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I also had a lot of really great successes. And it's there's nothing else I would rather do than come to my office every day and take care of people and take care of my employees. It still brings me enormous joy. So this is this is this makes me happy. Yeah,
But those are powerful words. So, would you tell that 21-year-old young lady to stick to it? And would you do it all
absolutely.
again?
I would in a heartbeat.
Beautiful. You were a single mom when you came.
Hmm.
Um, I missed whether it was a son or a daughter.
Uh, a daughter, and she's now 26 years old.
Okay. How
She's
does she enjoy the journey?
I think I had a pretty rough go of it as a child. So my whole mission was to just be able to provide her with a life that I never knew, and there's a lot of struggles along the way. But I think we grew up together. And she knew that her mom was never going to miss a sports event. I was never going to miss a Christmas program. I was never going to miss a single event, and this awesome career allowed me and afforded me the opportunities to balance being a mom and running a successful business. So I have a lot of gratitude for that, um, and I think she's very proud of h- how far I've come in this journey. And yeah, she just grew up with me, so it was a great experience.
I love it. Very, very relatable. Very relatable. Uh, Tammy, talk to me about getting licensed to sell insurance in the great state of Montana. What is the process like? Is it expensive? Are there a lot of barriers to entry, a lot of obstacles to overcome, or is it pretty straightforward?
I think it's pretty straightforward. They've made it how times have changed since I got licensed back in the day. There's so many online courses, resources, study guides. I've had people that I've hired that studied for a week, passed their tests, and it was easy peasy. So I don't think it's too terribly expensive. I would say your entire investment, if you engaged in their online courses and all of that with the fees and the fingerprinting and all that. I mean, there's a background check, of course, which I think is probably pretty standard. I would say your total investment is maybe $500, give or take. Um, well worth it if that's the career path, obviously, that you want to go into. And any of my team members that have come on, when they successfully go through that and they pass their kind of probationary period, if you will, I reimburse all of that. So that's not an out of pocket to them, but it's pretty straightforward in Montana.
I love it. So, anyone listening to this in Montana looking for a great career, kind of career where you can work hard, make money, and be there for your family, be at all their events, you're listening to the right person. Tammy, let's come out of the insurance business and let's tap into the community to where your heart is. One of the things that I love looking at your bio is that you have a passion for helping teens on safe driving practices. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. That started many, many years ago when I think Allstate kind of came around their young driver campaign, and I just really latched onto that. And it started with incentivizing teen drivers to come into my office, and I would encourage their parents when they would call and get a what if for adding their driver. I'd say they have to talk to me first. They have to come in. Um, and so I did one-on-one meetings with these new drivers and really talked to them about not just the insurancy side of things, but the real life situations. And having had a teen driver that had 3 accidents within the first year of her being licensed, I was very well versed in all the things that that happen. um, and so it branched out from me doing these one-on-ones to then going into the high schools, and I would talk to classes at a time, giving them just the basic understanding of, kind of the insurance 101, but then again, the real life scenarios of what actually is going on when you're driving. And what does that really look like when the notification pops up on your phone? And how do your grades correlate to your insurance rates? And this is what mom and dad expect of you, and guess what? You're going to hold up your bargain, and this is what, you and just helping them realize the enormity of the responsibility of being a driver in a vehicle on the road and that there are lives at stake. And so I put a little bit of fear of God into them, but also if they maintain their 3.0, we remind them of the discounts. I have a drawer full of like $10 gift cards that I'll give out to
Nice.
them if they're doing good, if their parents report back that they're doing good. So yeah, I having a young driver that really struggled. Um, I I feel privileged to be able to get to talk to other people about that.
That's awesome. So many notes, so many incredible things that you said. As parents, a dream of every parent is to be able to afford that car for their teenage driver, right? Buy the car, buy the insurance, let them drive to school senior year whenever you can do it. Um, and that parent is the good cop, and you chose to play the role of the bad cop and have some tough love conversations to make sure they understand the risk and responsibility. I'm the father of three sons. I think I've had similar conversations with all three sons, but they're pretty far apart in age, so I probably missed it. But with my middle son, I can recall Allstate at the time having a teen driver contract, which
Yes.
he and I signed. We kind of wrote it with my rules and his understanding. Only one other person in the car, no one in the back, no loud music, the time, so on and so forth. And I don't think he violated that contract. He was able to keep driving. Any experience with that, with having those teenagers sign a teen driving contract and getting those parents to open up with what their rules were beyond what the state DMV might require them to do?
Absolutely. I loved those contracts. In fact, I need to find, I'm sure I have one saved somewhere because I would make the young drivers sign that with their parents here. And I think just with teenagers in general, when mom and dad talk, it's like yap, 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 right?
Yeah.
Some of it stays in, but most of it goes out. And when you hear it from someone that is still kind of younger ish, I'm not younger anymore, but is still kind of in that cool age where I can have a realistic conversation with them, and just be really relatable. I think they kind of hold on to some of the things that I say because they know I mean business, and in their minds, I hold the my finger over the button that says whether they can drive or not. They don't know
Yes.
that that's mom and dad, but they think that I have some sort of control of like, you're not driving anymore. Um, I do love those contracts, and Great Falls is kind of a funny place, being that it is a smaller community. When people that I know and that I have a good rapport with, when I know that their child is driving and I know what vehicle they're driving, we all kind of look out for each other. And
Mhm.
if I know that your kid's not supposed to have three kids in the car, and I see them going down 10th Avenue South and the music's blaring and they've got kids hanging out the windows, you better believe I'm calling your mama. Like,
Yes.
and I will tell them that, like, "You've got people with eyes on you, so, um, we're watching out." And so yeah, no, I loved those contracts. I thought they were a great idea.
I tell you what, bringing it up with you now makes me want to pull it out because I did that 15 years ago. My son, who I did that with, will be 33 next month. But
Wow.
there are new things in the world now that didn't exist then. The amount of social media and platforms that the kids have answers to. I was really big in the don't text and drive campaign, but
Mhm.
that's the least of it. You'd have to revise that whole campaign. Don't
Yep,
take selfies and drive, don't go live and drive, don't do this and drive. It's changing so fast. So
so fast.
that's another conversation for another day to
Yes.
revisit some of those teen driving contracts to be there. um Tammy, you have a very strong digital presence. The fact that you're loved and highly thought of in your community is reflected greatly in your website reviews, your Google reviews. How important is having a strong digital presence to you in your community?
I think now more than ever, it's incredibly important. And that's something that I realized I was kind of slacking on it personally, just because I'm more, I go to these events. I love to participate in things in the community, but I tended to really shy away from promoting that online or being vocal, 'cause to me, I was like, I don't want to brag. I felt like it was very braggish. And so I tended to shy away from a lot of that. And I don't know who it was, but someone kind of shook me and they're like, how will people know?
Yes.
If they don't see you there, if they don't know what you're, how will they know? It's not bragging. It's, you have every right to promote what you're doing because it's a good thing. You're doing good things in the community. And people should know that because people want to do business with people that reinvest and continue to invest in their communities. And so that's been kind of I've taken a new stance on really trying to revamp that and showcase the things that we do weekly or monthly in our community and around the state. It was very uncomfortable for me at first, though. It's not in my comfort zone to do that.
No, it's a reach, and I'll add something to what you heard. People want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust in that order. So part of sharing things digitally is to let them get to know you. That hey, you really are from Great Falls. Hey, you really are involved in the community. You do support causes, and we like you, and that builds the trust, and the business follows those steps. So let's dive into the community a little bit. You're doing a number of things, supporting the Special Olympics, Think Pink for Tea, breast cancer awareness. You're supporting the Great Falls Hockey Association. You're working with the local veteran center, and shout out to your dad, who's a Vietnam vet.
Mm.
What are some pet community projects that you're working on right now that's important to you that you like to talk about a little bit?
So my current focus recently has been I I've served on the Great Falls Police Foundation board for several years and really focusing in on um, providing education, resources, training to our local first responders, mainly the police. Um, there, Montana has been plagued with a drug infestation, fentanyl. Meth used to be, we were the second highest meth concentration in the nation for years, and that has kind of shifted to fentanyl. And sadly, it really affects the kids and the youth in our community in so many ways, whether it's neglect, abuse, so many things. And so my passion has really been trying to connect with. Um, Getting resources to the people that need help in whether it's addiction, substance use, homelessness, and making sure our kids are taken care of. If our kids aren't taken care of, that next generation is tanked. And so I try in the different boards that I serve on, I really try to focus on what's going to make tomorrow better. What can we do today that's going to make tomorrow better? Because that's what matters. Um, so yeah, I've got a lot of little things that I'm really passionate about. That has been my focus lately, and really broadening my horizons to focusing on people that struggle with addictions and substance abuse. That's kind of my next big thing is to really try to. I've got a girlfriend that is putting together a female sober living house, so I'm partnering with her to do some good things there too. So there's a lot of need in this community, and I can't fix it all, but one at a time, I can try to bring support and awareness and try to make a difference.
Well, I love what I love what you're doing. I love the question, what's going to make tomorrow better? Um, and I really love that you're partnering with someone for the sober living house. Addiction, homelessness, and all the things that are secondary to addiction are real issues
Mm,
throughout the country. And we want to spend time, effort, and bring the financial resources that can help people being clean. But once they're done, maybe there are some family doors and some friends doors that are closed. So we need to
yes.
open those doors back up so they can live indoors and recreate a life for them. 2 months ago, I was nominated to be honored by the Great Gatsby Foundation,
Oh,
and
wow.
all of the work and all the money we raised, it went to a female sober house,
Wow.
reentry house. Very, very important that we never abandon people because, but for the grace of God, there
Yes.
goes I. And that applies to all of us, whether you're
Yes.
personally familiar with it or not familiar with it. Your focus on making things better tomorrow for everyone is absolutely admirable,
Thank
absolutely
you.
admirable. Tammy, question I've never asked anybody before. Day
Okay.
in the life. Yep, you get the pleasure of being dinged with a surprise. Day in the life of Tammy, Allstate agent in Great Falls, Montana. Go. What does it look like?
Uh, on a good day, we get up early at about 4:30, go to the
Yes.
gym, do a quick workout for about an hour, get home, and then the chaos starts. We've got two French bulldogs that desire constant attention. Um, it is always a lovely struggle getting my 14-year-old awake and out of bed. And my 11-year-old, who is a queen diva, she requires extra time for her skincare and makeup routine.
Yes.
Um, Try to make a breakfast, whether or not that's some toast or you're on your own, kick rocks with a bowl of cereal, or who knows, there may be an omelet. It all depends. Um, do a school drop off, come to the office, get started, go through my day, try to connect with either a friend or a business colleague or someone at least once a week for a lunch just to get out of the office and to take a break, step outside. And on any given night, there's either acting practice, hockey practice, or a board meeting. My husband serves on a board, so our schedules are kind of here, there. And ideally, at the end of the day, we all come together. I love to cook. Cooking is my jam. So I will make a dinner for all of us. And then at about 9 o'clock, 9:30, I mentally check out from everyone, and everyone knows that mom is done for the day.
Yeah.
And then there's something on Netflix or Hulu that will grab my attention, and maybe hot tub, and that's it. Lights out. That's my
Uh,
everyday.
that is awesome. So a lot of commonality, and you actually answered my last question next. But getting up early, I'm a card carrying member of the 5 a.m. club. I'm always up early, but lately somehow, some way, I've been sleeping all the way to 6:30, so I might get kicked out of the club. Um, uh,
It's that
there's a
daylight savings. It gets you
it
every
is.
time.
That has thrown me off, and God
Yeah.
knows I need to sleep. So I might get kicked out of the 5 a.m. club. You've already told me how you wind down and you check out. My checkout time is 10 p.m. It's getting earlier as well, but everyone knows not to ask me anything serious after 10. I
Yep.
take no responsibility for those answers. I am completely disengaged. But it's the one question, the one follow up question I have to ask. I can visualize hockey. I know hockey. Who's taking acting classes? And if that's you, what part of the game is that? Do tell.
Oh Lord, it's not me. I have enough drama at the office. Every day is an acting class here, I swear. No, my 11-year-old daughter, she is all things musical acting. She's very dramatic by nature, and she's a redhead, so she's a little sassy.
I got
Um,
it.
Loves Taylor Swift, and so she just has that sass, and she is in a musical in the next couple weekends, Shrek the musical.
Yes.
She loves to be involved in her school plays, and she's just very charismatic, and so it brings joy to me to see her in her element, doing all the things that she loves. And my son, he is a phenomenal hockey player, and I don't just say that because all moms say that, but he's actually pretty good. And it brings me extraordinary joy to watch him play into his passion and to see him just develop into a really phenomenal young man. So I feel incredibly blessed every day. Really, I've got, and my oldest daughter, I shouldn't leave her out. She's a middle school English teacher here in Great Falls,
Nice.
and she's very well rounded and very intelligent. And so yeah, I've come a long way from that 20-year-old girl that really knew nothing and jumped into the deep end. But yeah, life is good. I feel very blessed.
Well, I love it. You have offered a lot to anyone that's viewing or listening to this podcast. You've been absolutely phenomenal. I usually end with how do you wind down at the end of the day, but you've taken us through that process already. So let me close with this question. Two questions. Number one, is there anything that you'd like to share that I should have asked you about? Something that's important to you that you're working on, or something exciting the family is doing that I didn't ask you about? So that's question number one. And then I'll close with a different question.
Um, every day is I feel like in being a business owner, there's a lot of predictable things, but there's a lot of unpredictable things. And so I try not to plan too far in advance or have too many things going on because you never know what's going to pop up. But I think my secret to success is to start my day with prayer and gratitude, and just being very mindful of what God has given me in my life and my career. And um, so that starts the success of my day every day. And it's all up from here. In this business, you're going to have great years, you're going to have not so great years, you're going to win a lot of things, and you're not going to win a lot of things. But the when you wake up with that desire and that passion to continue to serve people and to make a difference, and to do what you know to do is right, and by taking care of people, you're going to win no matter what. And so, yeah, I don't have anything too exciting. I'm excited for what 2025 is going to bring, for not only my family but for my agency, and we're going to just take it one day at a time.
I love it. Closing question. You shared some incredible information from your journey, how you began to your 25th anniversary. You gave us a great visit of Great Falls, Montana. You took us to the Glacier Mountains. I don't think we talked about Yellowstone, but that's my fault. That's not your fault at all. But with all the greatness that you shared, right now there's someone watching or listening to this podcast that maybe has a similar vision, but they're having a hard time right now. I would love for you to close it out with some encouraging words and just kind of take something maybe that comes from your morning prayer to encourage them to keep going no matter what obstacles they're facing right now.
Yeah, I would tell anyone and everyone, you are looking at uh, literal living proof that a 20-year-old with no education, with very little to no money, no support, if you will, if I can figure it out and grow this agency and this business and be successful and have a really impactful um, have a huge impact on my employees' lives, their families' lives, and the lives of my community, you can too. It starts with a desire to learn and to grow, and you just don't ever throw in the towel. No matter what, you don't quit. You keep going, and you just don't quit. And with the right heart and with the right attitude, and I think a whole lot of faith, all things are possible. So that's what I would say.
Well, you just said it. You did an amazing, amazing job. Tammy, thank you for taking time out of your busy day and joining us on Wind Down with Kev today. You shared so much, just nothing but incredible information, incredible jewels. And I know you're going to be a blessing and benefit to anybody and everybody that listens to the podcast. That being said, thank you to everyone that tuned in today to watch this episode of Wind Down with Kev. Thank you for taking a trip with us to Great Falls, Montana. And if you like this conversation that we had, please click on the link below to subscribe and get the notifications button so you can find out when this content becomes available on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. Thank you once again to my sponsors, Carol Media, Canopy Connect, Wintrust. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, all of you that have subscribed already. Ladies and gentlemen, straight out of Great Falls, Montana, Tammy Quintel Stubbs.